You have the affordable housing issue, the healthcare issue, domestic violence, mental illness, poor paying jobs, substance abuse. There's so many different ways that people become homeless.
And he would know. His name is David Pirtle, and for almost 2 years he was living on the streets, one of almost 800,000 Americans estimated to be homeless on any given night.
This was where I lived when I was on the streets here in Washington. I used to sleep right here beside this statue, you know, when it was windy or rainy.
He grew up in a middle-class family, graduated from college, and held a steady job for almost 15 years. So how did he become homeless?
Well, mainly, I suffer from schizophrenia, and it's a very common mental illness, and unfortunately, it very commonly ends in homelessness.
But when it comes to mental illness, how much of a factor is it in the lives of homeless Americans? At a recent panel discussion during Homeless Awareness Week, currently homeless men spoke about how mental illness is a factor in their homelessness. From depression,
my homelessness was caused by depression,
to drug addiction.
I look at myself now and I just can't believe that I'm even talking to you. Because I really thought I would die being out.
David says mental illness is clearly a pressing issue.
And the reason that that's so bad is, one, it's depressing, and two, it makes you worse. You know, the longer you're alone, the more isolated you are, the more wrapped up you get in your own little psychosis.
So you've heard David's side of the story, but from a medical perspective, how much of a factor is mental illness in the downward spiral into homelessness? Does being diagnosed with a mental disease, depression, schizophrenia, drug addiction, make it impossible to lead a normal life or to avoid homelessness?
Dr. Martin Brown of Inova Alexandria Hospital says someone like David, who is diagnosed with schizophrenia, faces a unique set of challenges.
That makes it difficult for them to pay their own bills, keep focused on a task, develop reasonable relationships, and have reasonable interpersonal skills, which contributes to the homelessness.
Dr. Brown says that drug addiction and depression can also be extremely crippling.
They're disabled mentally, often physically, and their psychological makeup is such that with the resources available in our society currently, they can't get it together.
David lives a better life now. He takes advantage of the city's subsidized housing. Schizophrenia no longer prohibits him from having a home, and he is optimistic about the future.
You know, my ultimate goal is to end homelessness. There's no reason why we can't tackle that, why we can't guarantee that everyone in this country has a roof over their head. We know it works. We just have to do it.
Reporting for The Source, this is Jonathan Blakely and Elliott Brown.